Hello, Living Waters. Welcome back. Thanks for having coffee with me this morning. Monday. Back from vacation. All right. So, we're talking about. Thanks last week for hanging in there with the shorter week and the not as structured, prepared for videos. I made those being like, this won't be that long, and then they're long. Anyway, give a pastor a camera. That's all I got to say. I'm thinking, let's talk about that Christmas Eve sermon, huh? I mean, come on. Let's talk about this idea of good or bad, who's to say? And if you didn't see the sermon, I mean, obviously, I highly recommend it. But this is a story, right? That things that appear bad at first could end up being good. And vice versa. Things are in flux. If we're always jumping to conclusions and, this is the worst thing ever, or what are we going to do? We're discrediting the power of God to bring goodness out of it. And so, this week I thought, good or bad, who's to say, in Scripture, right? I turned us to Exodus 11. Exodus 11. We've been on a little hot streak of Exodus. Great book. Chapter 11. Warning of the final plague. See, they don't give us these. I know they're just trying to write it down and get that all down. But I really love to get some of the behind the scenes in some of these, right? God's saying, the Lord said to Moses, right in verse 1, I'll bring one more plague upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. Afterwards, he'll let you go from here. Indeed, when he lets you go, he'll drive you away. It's like, oh, great. It almost makes it sound like Moses is like, all right, one more plague. Living through a plague now, you want 9 more? I don't know if you've seen that meme of Ramses being like, it's like Ramses looking at you when you complain about one plague. Anyway, they've gone through 9 plagues at this point. Then there's one more, and in fact, it's the death of every firstborn. That sounds pretty terrible. So, I love that. Moses is like, okay, come on. If I'd be like, I feel like if it were me, I'd be like, really, God? Another one? 9 wasn't going to work. You really think a 10th one's going to work? So much bloodshed. This looks bad. I think would be my reaction, right? But God's kind of saying, good or bad, who's to say? This is a bad situation. The slavery and bondage, the way that God's people have been treated by Egypt. Going back to when Israel first settled in Egypt and how they were basically betrayed and enslaved, right? That's bad. And the people have asked for God to liberate them for so long, right? And it's finally happening. And yet, even through the story, it kind of is up and down, good or bad, who's to say? I would even continue after the people are set free, and then Pharaoh changes his mind, is chasing them to kill them with his war chariots. That seems bad. But God separates the water and lets them go free. Is this good or bad, who's to say? If we panic, then we lose sight of what's happening. We are not giving God the chance to bring out tremendous good. I dare say, to have a little faith. That's story 1. 4 to go. See you tomorrow.